Joining me now is the Energy Minister, Josh Frydenberg. Thanks very much for your time. A big day for you. You've got to get some progress on the National Energy Guarantee. When you wrap up the discussions today, what do you want the outcome to be? Can you explain to our viewers in as simple terms as possible when you talk about this final design stage? What does that mean?
Well, the Independent Energy Security Board have provided the states, the territories and the Commonwealth with a design of the National Energy Guarantee. And what we're looking for today is to get approval from the COAG Energy Council to move to the final design details and a subsequent agreement in August. We recognise the urgency of this situation, and today is an opportunity that can't be missed to deliver Australians cleaner, cheaper, more reliable power. Because, Kieran, for too long, energy and climate policy has been a political football in Australia, and as those political battle lines have been drawn, it's consumers that have been the casualties. Now we have the National Energy Guarantee, the recommendation of the Independent Energy Security Board, supported by modelling that shows that the prices will come down, and also receiving the broad support, unprecedented support from business, from industry and from community groups.
The states have told me, the Labor states this morning, that they're going in with an open mind, doubtful of any final outcome. I guess you're not wanting a final outcome today. You want progress to the final meetings in August. But are you encouraged by this suggestion that they're coming in with an open mind at least?
I've been very encouraged by my constructive discussions with them to date. We met last night. We'll have a meeting this morning. There'll be presentations from the Energy Security Board. And I understand that the states and the territories still have issues that they want to work through. But overwhelmingly, there's a commitment to land an outcome. There was a lot of goodwill in the room last night, and people recognise that the hyper-partisanship that has dominated and dictated energy and climate policy for more than a decade in our country has not served the consumers. And we need to get the market working again to deliver a more reliable, affordable power system, and one that stays true to our international commitments to reduce emissions.
The fundamental point made by the regulators, and you've made this point, and I guess the question is it recognised by all of the state counterparts, is that need for political constancy beyond a 3-year electoral or 4-year electoral cycle when the assets you're talking about run for 30, 40 years? Absolutely.
When you are a big energy company deciding to build either a thermal generator, coal or gas, or a renewable, a solar or wind farm, you are making a 30 to 40-year bet. You are looking beyond the immediate political cycle. So you need constancy, consistency in that investment environment. That's what's been missing to date. What we need to do is move forward from a paradigm of subsidies, one where there are no new taxes, no new trading schemes, no new subsidies, and one in which the renewables, the thermal generators can compete in a technology-neutral way and deliver the best possible outcomes for consumers.
Why wouldn't you give the states flexibility to go harder if they wanted to in terms of their own targets, if they see fit? If they saw a benefit in one industry and wanted to push it, why do you want to bind them to within one national framework when it comes to renewable energy targets as well?
Well, the state targets absolutely coexist with the National Energy Guarantee. Nobody is seeking to put a limit on what the states are doing. To the contrary, we're saying what they are doing contributes to the overall national goal. And let's not forget, Kieran, that it was the federal government that signed up to the Paris Accord. It's a federal responsibility as a treaty that we entered into. It's therefore a federal responsibility to set the emissions reduction target and to put in place the policies to meet them. If the states want to contribute to that, they can. Obviously, my preference, and I've stated this publicly, is not to have separate state schemes. But I recognise I can't stop that. So what we've got with the National Energy Guarantee is an overarching mechanism that coexists with the state-based schemes and doesn't compromise reliability or affordability.
would you look to lifting the commitment to 28%, given the agreement that was reached with when Tony Abbott was Prime Minister, ratified when Malcolm Turnbull was Prime Minister, was 26 to 28. As part of a gesture to the Labor stage, would you consider lifting it to 27 or 28% within this framework?
We believe that 26% is right. It's a pro rata share from the electricity sector, which makes up 1/3 of Australia's emissions. The other emissions come from industry, from transport, from agriculture, and we have mechanisms to reduce emissions in those sectors. Let's not forget that Australia's emissions are the lowest level in 28 years on a GDP and per capita basis. But you can't just turn down emissions in the electricity sector like you turn down the volume on your stereo. There are impacts for the reliability and the affordability of the system. When Hazelwood and Northern Power Stations both closed in South Australia and Victoria, the wholesale electricity price increased by more than 80%. We've seen some of the challenges that they've had in South Australia where they needed to wheel in diesel generators just as backup to keep the lights on. We can't afford to rush this transition. We need to get it right, and we need to listen to the experts, and that's where the National Energy Guarantee is just so important.
And is there enough scope for Labor to turn up the dial? You said you can't turn them down so easily. Is there enough scope here for Labor, if they win the next election, to have their own policy implemented?
Well, we will make a very strong case for not changing the legislated reduction of emissions at 26%. It will need to be in federal legislation, and the reason why is because the investors need that certainty and that constancy to make the right investments. Now, the Labor Party have a 45% emissions reduction target. The Business Council of Australia has called that risky and unnecessary. They have no idea how they're actually going to meet that target. Now, if they want to go to the Australian people and make that case, we will argue against it. We're confident we'll win the next election, and the National Energy Guarantee, which we hope to get agreement in August from the states, from the territories, with the Commonwealth, will be a durable, lasting consensus.
But Labor can bump it up, can't they? Labor could bump it up within the energy framework, within this National Energy Guarantee.
The Parliament is always sovereign, but at the end of the day, we will be legislating this target, and we will make the very strong case that it should not be changed.
Minister, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Busy day for you. Thanks.
Good to be with you, Kieran.